Time for a budget roundup.
Budget roundup.
I sunk as well a little bit.
Yeah, I sunk when I sat down.
This has come a little bit loose, but it's okay.
Yeah, that one is loose.
Right, so as we mentioned in a previous video, we are going to be doing regular budget overview videos. Basically at the end of each month or early the following month, we'll do a video basically going over how much we spent over the previous month, so that you guys have an idea of, one, what the cost of living is in Portugal. In our case, obviously at the moment we still live in the village house. Over time we're going to move more onto the farm, onto the off-grid farm. So obviously the bills are going to be much more reduced on the farm, but for the time being we're in the house, so things like electricity, water, all of that's still coming out.
Yeah.
In our case, because we only moved over a month ago, there will be some minor nuances. So for example, our car insurance is, for example, still in the UK.
Yeah.
So that's coming out in pounds. We still have to pay UK road tax for the car.
Mobile phone bills we still have in the UK.
Yeah, we still have a couple of, well, the 2 mobile phone bills contracts in the UK. Yeah. So there will be things like that in there. Obviously, like I said just now, this is our first month of living here. So it'll be interesting to go over the figures and see whether we were able to stick to our budget. We estimated when we were budgeting the move and sort of seeing how much money we need to have to actually live, we budgeted €1,000 per month as a rough estimate.
Yeah.
And based on what we've seen from other content creators online, from our research, €1,000, if you're not splashing out, if you are quite conservative and prudent with your spending, that should be doable. But obviously until we're actually here and obviously spending something very personal, we don't know whether our circumstances, our taste, our preferences will be able to conform to that budget. So it'll be interesting how the figures stack up against that budget, whether we need to try to cut back, whether we've got some wiggle room, what the figures are.
Yeah. And of course, first month in any new home always comes with added expenses. We didn't bring an awful lot of furniture to this house, so we've got no wardrobes, we've got nowhere to hang clothes. We bought a few things since over this month. Yeah, that's what I mean. So when we got here, we didn't have these things, so we've had to buy them in our first month. So when it comes to budget, I've split the budget into really 3 for this month. I've got our regular outgoings, what I've considered non-standard, so things like those clothes railings and things for washing up and heaters that we didn't have prior. So that's all in non-standard. And then we've got moving costs, because obviously we moved this month, so that's come as a cost to us as well.
Yeah, it's not quite a living expense, however,
not yet,
since we're talking about figures, you guys, you're probably thinking about moving over. The cost of actually the move is probably something that's quite relevant and quite interesting to some of you. So we wanted to include that as well.
Yeah.
If you think of any other costs which we haven't covered in this video, then make sure to leave us a comment and we'll see whether that's something that we can find out for you, whether it's something that's relevant to us or not relevant. Well, we can take it from there. But yeah, any questions, that's what the comment section's for.
Yep.
So what figures should we start with? What have you got first on your list?
I would start with our regular spend.
So what would you include in the regular spend?
So our regular spend was weekly shopping. Now in March we've only done 4 shops. I think there were 5.
Don't know,
anyway,
but basically 4 weekly shops.
We've done 4 weekly shops in March. That's all you really need to know.
But the figure for this, is this going to include just food or?
No, food is included, electricity is included, the what do you call it, the charge for the bank account.
Yes, in Portugal you have to pay for bank account. It's only a small fee, but still, in the UK we're used to free banking for personal accounts anyway. But in Portugal you have to pay for those. So obviously that's something we have to include in there.
We've there's a local bar near to us, and we haven't really been successful in it, but we're going to try to go there weekly to try and meet more of the community and practice our Portuguese more. So that cost is in there. What else? Water rates and electricity, but just bear in mind that those costs are based on February's usage, which was 0 because we weren't here. So we do anticipate those increasing next month and being a little bit more realistic, and based on the fact that we have run the heater quite a lot.
Well, I would say we've run it quite conservatively. I don't think, I wouldn't say we used it a lot. It was predominantly on, because you have to bear in mind we moved over at the back end of winter really. So for example, when the first day when we arrived, it was 8 degrees or 7 degrees, something like that. It was single digits basically overnight. And for us, that's just too cold. We don't want to sleep in 7 or 8 degrees. So the heater would be running basically all night.
It was running all night, yeah.
I think the setting it was on is like 800 watts or something like that. But that would be running every day, every night. And then during the day, sometimes that would come on if we were doing some work inside.
Yeah.
On top of that, we also have the log burner, which you will have seen in some of the videos. We haven't had to buy any firewood. Well, we have actually had to buy some firewood, so I'm guessing you're going to touch on that later. Well, but we haven't bought like a truckload, which is what you would usually do if you were living here.
Yeah, we just bought enough to get us
We also have a little stockpile of wood over here on the farm, so we'll be going through that, but inevitably at some point in the future, we are going to have to start buying firewood as well.
Yeah, and then also included in regular spends, and these are what come out of our British account. We have 2 motorbikes, so that comes out. We have a car insurance, so that comes out. Car tax, we run Spotify, and as we mentioned, mobile phones. So that all comes out of our British bank account. So I've converted those pounds into euros based on, I think it was yesterday's.
Was it €1.15?
It was 1.15 yesterday. I think it's changed since then.
But anyway,
but that was based on yesterday's figures.
Yeah.
So those regular outgoings for March came to £847.
847 euros or pounds?
Oh, sorry, 847 euros.
So that's basically the 4 weekly shops.
Yeah.
The insurances for the car, 2 bikes, roads tax for the 2 bikes, the car, Spotify.
Yeah. Electricity,
water, the bank account fee.
Yeah. All the basic essentials in life.
Bearing in mind,
but just the bare essentials.
Yeah, but keeping in mind, like we said, the electricity bill and the water bill are for the month before when we weren't here, so they're going to be basically just the standard charges.
Yeah.
So if we were to delve into those figures a little bit, how much was electricity, for example, just for basically for a month when we're not here?
A month when we were not here, it cost us €17.34 for not being here.
Yeah, that's basically just a standard charge for the month of February.
Yeah.
Okay. Then how much was water?
€8.60.
Yeah, so water's not that expensive just for the connection essentially. But again, those two are going to increase next month when we go over our April spending, because those are going to include March usage because obviously it's charged a month behind. So in terms of the 4 weekly shops, we tried 4 different supermarkets.
Yes, we did.
So we started with Pingo Dos, where we took you guys with us, and I actually put a copy of the receipt in that video. That's from the first week of living in Portugal. Then we went to Lidl, Continent, and the last shop we did was at Auchan, and that was the big Auchan in Castelo Branco. And that was, Auchan is probably, that particular one anyway, is probably the biggest one of all of them. and had the widest range. But at the same time, we have a slight inkling it will probably be one of the more expensive ones.
Well,
however, I think you've gone over some figures.
I did a quick cost analysis. Just looking at the things that we definitely buy every week, things like milk. And by the way, while we're on the subject of milk, if you come from the UK, you'll have a bit of a culture shock where you go down an aisle and half of it is milk. Here in Portugal, the milk is in with the yoghurt, and there are 3 choices, if they have a choice at all. So
that's for sort of fresh
milk. Yeah, so that was a big culture shock for me. Yeah, but comparing something like milk that we buy at every single shop, to be honest, over the 4 stores, the prices were pretty similar. I think, interestingly, Lidl were more expensive than the other 3, which surprised me for milk.
So how much is on average the milk?
Oh, you're asking me now. You put me on the spot. I've highlighted them all, but I haven't got my glasses. It was about €2, I think.
About €2 for, is it a litre?
Oh no, what's this? I'm lying. €1.14.
€1.14. But you said that there wasn't too much difference.
There wasn't too much difference.
So you're looking at just over €1 for, is it a litre of milk?
Yeah, €1 in Pingo Doce. Oh, there it is, 1.14. That was Lidl. Continent didn't have any. That's why I can't find it at Continent. And yeah, €1 at Auchan. So about the same.
Yeah. And anything else that you compared on there between them?
I mean, things like halloumi, because we use a lot of halloumi.
Well, we use it regularly.
We use it regularly. Again, similar, I don't know what we've paid in the UK, that's the problem. I'm never allowed to go shopping in the UK.
I think it was £2.60, £2.40 for a block of halloumi.
So interesting. So Pingo Doce was £2.75. Lidl was £2.49. What was that one?
I think we got it in Auchan as well. I have a feeling Auchan was probably more expensive.
Auchan was more expensive. That was £4.89 in Auchan, so it was the most expensive for halloumi.
Basically twice the price, pretty much.
But it was the make we would normally use, so it's probably imported.
Well, halloumi's Greek, so yeah.
But you know, the others were grilled cheese.
Yeah, like own brand sort of almost things. Yeah.
So it makes a difference. The other thing that we buy, we're not particularly wine drinkers, but we do like squash,
which is diluted
juice
thing.
And there's a brand that we like. Can you remember what it's called?
Sun something.
Anyway, so we've bought this in every single shop, and pretty much it's been the same price, and it is quite expensive. €7.69, so that's quite dear for a bottle of squash.
Yeah.
But that will last us a week and a half maybe.
Yeah.
Interestingly, Auchan, it was cheaper.
And it came in a glass bottle.
And it comes in a glass bottle, so that gets a big tick from us. I think it was €6.15 from Auchan. So that's considerably
solid euro cheaper then.
Yeah.
So not everything will be either more expensive or cheaper in any of the supermarkets.
Yeah. Now, when it comes to what they cost, so Pingo Doce, that was our first week shopping, came to €84.89.
And you can see the actual itemised receipt from that on our video from the first week in Portugal. That's actually on the screen in there.
So that was maybe a bit more than we anticipated, but
I think we didn't really know how much it was going to be. We just had a very rough.
And I feel like we're still stocking up on things here. Like we're buying a lot of cat food, see what the cat will eat. Although they do her regular brand, we're trying her with different things. You know, there are things that you don't necessarily buy every week.
Yeah,
we're still buying now.
The first week we were very careful with what we bought, and I think that loosened up a little bit over the last couple of weeks.
Well, you say that. The second week we shopped at Lidl. I personally don't. I like the middle aisle in Lidl, but I don't really enjoy food shopping in Lidl. And that week our shopping bill came to €54.37. However, there were a lot of things we couldn't find in Lidl.
Yeah, Lidl has a limited range.
Yeah. So we managed, didn't we? We ate all week, but there were things that we couldn't find that we maybe would have liked to have bought.
Yeah.
So Lidl's, you know, it's fine for certain things, but for us, I can't see it
has a limited range. We'll be going probably every now and then, but maybe for specific things.
Yeah. And then our third shop was Continent. Now, I don't think we particularly bought anything out of the ordinary here. But again, Continent was a big store, wasn't it? So we were a little bit overexcited. And I did buy things like a sewing kit, but that's just €3. And that bill came to €116.27.
So that's quite a lot more, but like we said, they're not necessarily, well, they're definitely not like for like comparable. So don't think that it's the same shop that we did in Lidl for €54 suddenly costs
we certainly bought more
euros
at Lidl.
in Continent.
Yeah. And then our final shop was at Auchan. Now, I am not going to lie, Auchan is my favourite.
I mean, the selection there is incredible for everything.
It's what I would call a proper superstore. You can get everything. We bought our washing machine from Auchan.
Yeah.
You can buy a TV there. You can buy a computer there. You can
mouse, keyboard.
Does it sell clothes? I can't remember. It sells.
I think it did like kids' clothing, maybe a little bit.
It sells curtains. It sells things for the kitchen.
But like the
books,
meat,
toys, everything.
Like
and
the meat section or the cheese section in Auchan, or even the fish section in Auchan alone, each of those sections is probably the same size as just a regular little shop.
Yeah,
that's
the choice blew my mind.
There are a couple of Auchans in Castelo Branco. This is the one, I can't remember what the shopping centre's called, but I'll put on the screen like the Google Maps screenshot so that you know which one we're talking about, because they will differ from one from the other.
Some are small.
I know there's one up the road from here. Well, I say up the road, about 20 minutes from here, I think. And that one looks a lot more basic, and it won't have the vast majority of things that that other one in Castelo Branco will. Yeah. So there will be, you know, differences
for choice and variety, and it like I say, it imports a lot of things. So there were a lot of things that we recognised from home. Now that's not necessarily what we're shopping for, but it is, when you've just moved, it's a little bit comforting to be able to get things that you're used to seeing while you make that change. But for choice, like you say, there were so many cheeses and hams and sausages and
I mean, we don't really eat seafood that much, but for seafood there was a massive counter as well.
Yeah.
The vegetable section was good. I wouldn't say, I'm not sure. I think Continent had a better veg section than Auchan. But it's a supermarket. It'll have most of the things.
Yeah. For me, if you asked me where I wanted to shop every week, it would be Auchan.
Yeah.
And that would probably mean it would cost us more because, like I say, there's so much more choice.
So inevitably you just end up spending more because you just buy more items.
Yeah, you buy more things that you don't want. Now, to be fair, that I don't know if I've told you the price of the Auchan one, so I hope you're sitting down, because Auchan was expensive. It came to €142. However, disclaimer, I'm going to take some items off that bill because we bought some trays and I bought some socks and we bought a hose pipe. So once I've taken those items off the bill, which I would consider non-standard, that shopping bill came to €113. So that was in line with Continent.
With Continent. But again, like we said earlier, it's not the same items being brought from every shop.
No.
However, I think everybody can relate. When you go to a shop, unless you are absolutely, going in with a set amount of money that you want to spend and that to last you the entire week, inevitably you will just pick up stuff that you don't necessarily pick up every week.
Yeah. So we did smash our budget in a bad way, not in a good way, for food shopping. So
overall, how much did we spend on the weekly shops?
Oh, I don't know. I don't have that particular sum here, but we spent about £340.
I'll put the exact figure on the screen so that you've got it there. So that's the weekly shop. Obviously, we covered the electricity, the water. The bank charge, I think, is like €9 or something.
Yeah, €8.
€8 with
32
pennies
or
with
something,
cents.
yeah.
Yeah, so that's not much either. Insurances, like we said, they're still in the UK.
Yeah.
So all of those regular outgoings, including the 4 weekly shops, was 800.
All of our regular outgoings were €846 or 847 euros.
Keeping in mind we were hoping to stick to about €1,000 per month. So that wipes out the vast majority of that budget. But that's probably not overly surprising.
That's all we budgeted for, really.
And also bear in mind we don't have a mortgage over here.
Yeah.
So there's no rent or anything like that to be covered by that €1,000. Okay. So, and what in the UK is called council tax.
Yeah.
For utilities like street parking, street lighting, bin collections, all of that. That's negligible. I can't remember exactly how much it is.
But it's
more like an annual bill, and it's going to be
yeah.
negligible. It's going to be like €40 for the year or something like that. So,
but when we get that, we'll be sure to tell you.
Yeah, we'll mention now when we actually pay it.
Yeah.
After a year. What's next on your list?
Non-standard items.
So included within that will be...
so that was the oil heater, which cost us £60. We needed supplies for the cat and tortoise when we first arrived, soil and things like that. That was nearly £40. Extension leads, European extension leads, because obviously we're buying European electrical items now. So we needed some extension leads, so that's €25. We ate out a few times, which we wouldn't normally do, to be fair. That was about €20.
Yeah, not much. You wouldn't get like a full meal out of that for a couple if you went to a restaurant.
No, it was a snack. I think it was in the Forum Centre, and it was a snack. What did we buy? We bought a bathroom heater. That was quite expensive, and we probably bought other things at the same time. That was €126.
I think that included.
Some wood.
The few planks of wood that you used, and also
some
few
firewood.
sacks of firewood. Which, by the way, we bought. That shopping was from Leroy Merlin.
Leroy Merlin, yeah.
And the firewood, it looked okay, but when I lifted the sacks in the shop, the pallet underneath was wet.
Yeah.
So that gave a bit away, but we were sort of running out of the wood that we had at the house, so we were like, right, let's just get some sacks from the shop. We were hoping it was going to be dryish. It just ended up being all wet.
Yeah.
So we would not recommend doing that at all.
You can get these sacks of firewood from pretty much anywhere. We went to Brico-Marché, and they had that, and it was indoors, and that looked drier. They also had it at Auchan.
I imagine once you actually cut into it, or when it starts burning, it's probably all going to be...
It's not seasoned, is it?
No,
let's be honest.
It's all going to be sort of greenish wood. If you can...
It's good for an emergency, but...
If you're able to, and that's what we're going to be trying to, stock up on your firewood at least a year in advance, so that you can season it over summer yourself, and then use it the following year, or even the year after that.
Yeah.
We're going to be trying to have about 2 years worth of supply of firewood, so that we can make sure that it's seasoned by us and it's all completely dry before we start to burn it, because otherwise it just makes a mess of your flue, it makes a mess of your log burner, and it's a pain to try to get it to light.
It's distressing because you can't get your fire going.
Yeah, so it's just a pain.
Yeah. Also that day we went to Oma. So Oma's like a
home furnishing.
Home furnishing
not quite
stores.
IKEA, but IKEA-esque.
And I can't remember what we bought that day. I think we bought a clothes rail. We must have bought a lot of things anyway, because that came to €144 we spent in Oma that particular day. Right, what else? You needed some IT equipment, so you had a keyboard and
the hard drive.
Your hard drive, and you had a dongle for the internet.
Yeah, Wi-Fi dongle for the computer.
So that was all quite expensive.
Again, that's probably not going to be applicable to most of you guys.
Yeah. The electrician. So I don't think we've really covered this, but we had
I did touch on it in the videos. I did mention we wanted to increase the maximum power output for the house. So we had to get an electrician in to replace the fuses, and we needed one of them to be fitted with an RC. Well, we're not electrical, you know, we're not specialists or clued up on electrical things, but we had to have an RCD fitted. It was a quick job. I think he was in and out in like half an hour. Our fuse board's pretty simple. And how much was the electrician?
€110, but he was a recommendation from a friend.
Yeah.
So when he came on the day, he said he was going to come, and he was very clear with his communication about what time he would be with us.
Yeah.
So that was all really positive.
He speaks English as well, which makes it easier. It's not necessary for us, but it helps.
So that was 110. So that was an expense that we really didn't budget for at this moment in time. We bought the internet thing. What's that?
The 4G/5G modem. Basically, it uses the SIM card that you would have in your phone for internet connection, because obviously we upload these videos, we go through quite a lot of data every single week. Each of these videos is about 8 gigabytes that you're watching, so that needs to be uploaded. Obviously we download things, we stream things, so we needed a Portuguese proper internet connection. There's no fibre optic broadband in our village, so that left us with basically two real choices, which was either to go with mobile broadband, which is what we went with, or Starlink. Now, we want to, without going into too much detail, we want to try to avoid Starlink if we can.
Yeah.
So that left us with the mobile broadband. Now, the mobile broadband technically is nowhere near as fast as Starlink, for example, would be, and it's less reliable, but it's proving to be sufficient for what we need.
Yeah.
And that on pay-as-you-go terms, so basically without a contract. The device was
€84.89 we paid,
but
on that day.
That was for the device and
the
first month of internet, which is unlimited internet as well. And it's thereafter it's going to be €35 per month without a contract. Once we've got our residency sorted, we're going to move on to a contract, and that's going to drop it down to about €13 per month for the internet, 13. So that's going to be a significant reduction there.
Yeah.
So we're looking forward to that.
Yeah. Also, if you watched one of the earlier videos where I put the curtain up and was quite surprised that it only contained one curtain, we went back to Omma, and that second trip to Omma, which also included the kitchen unit to keep our tins in, which you saw my lovely husband assemble. That trip to Omma cost us another €77.
Yeah.
So every time we go to Omma, it costs us near enough €100.
Yeah.
We bought some more soil because we went to the market and bought some things.
Yeah, in Fundao we got some little veggies.
Don't know if we've shown you those yet.
Yeah, possibly.
You may not have seen what we bought yet, but that was...
We lost track a little bit.
What else did we buy? Oh, you bought an axe. We went to Fundao Market. We had a great day. We bought some flowers. You bought an axe to chop some wood.
Yeah, wood splitting axe, yeah.
I bought some fire tools to poke my fire with. And I bought a lovely little wooden stool. And again, I don't think you've seen these yet, but you will do soon if you keep watching. And altogether, that little trip to Fundao cost us €90 in the market we spent.
Does that include the pastel de nata?
No.
No,
I'll put that as a regular spend.
That's included in the weekly things.
Pastel de nata, Deutsch pastel de nata,
Galau.
Cola? Did you have a cola? That cost us €5.70. And you can tell I need to work on my Portuguese, but it's fine. It's coming. So that was our trip to Fundao. Bike covers. We had to buy some bike covers to protect our bikes from the sun.
Yeah.
They cost another €45.
but they're like, what did we? Is it AliExpress? I think it's
you
AliExpress.
Went to AliExpress, yeah.
Yeah, so it gets delivered directly from China, and they are as good as anything we would probably get from the shop, and they cost a lot less than we would pay in a regular shop or Amazon or anything like that.
And we've had no problems with our deliveries, have we?
No, we were. So that's one of the things that we were not
sure. You do have to be in.
Yeah, they just tell you what day things are going to be delivered, and usually you get notified the day before that it's going to be delivered tomorrow. I had things delivered from, well, an item delivered, which was the keyboard, from Amazon UK.
Yeah.
So just because you're in Portugal doesn't mean you can't order things.
Well, no, there are things you can't order from Amazon UK. But
no, like the cat pills you wanted to deliver.
Yeah, no, I have to get those delivered to UK and get someone to bring them.
But there are items that you can still order from Amazon UK and have them delivered over here. I think I had to pay like €5 or something like that delivery charge. But you know, if you need something that's available there but it's not available in Amazon Spain or Portugal, then you can still do that. We did order something from Amazon Spain as well, the little
the
log burner fan.
Yeah.
Again, no issues with any of the deliveries. No delays. It's not next day delivery.
No.
But for example, the fans from Amazon, I mean, I think both the Amazon deliveries actually arrived within a week.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, very quick.
And the deliveries from China arrived pretty much the same as they would
probably
take
quicker than they would arrive to the UK, to be honest.
So no issues there.
Yeah. And then our final big non-standard spend for March, we found a shop opposite Auchan. What is it? I've put down
Jysk. Oh, I think they pronounce it Jysk, Jysk.
Right, yeah. So another furniture shop for you. I was very excited, and I do like this furniture shop too. And we needed something heavy duty to hang coats and things on. Yeah. So we spent €140 in there on a coat stand and a box and some other bits and pieces.
But it's solid.
It's a solid piece of furniture. I like Oma. I really like the stuff in there, but we have found the quality of the self-build items isn't necessarily great.
Not everything. I got a frying pan from there, and that is one of the best frying pans I've had ever.
But this coat rack is
for furniture, I think Oma is a little bit cheap.
Yeah, some of it is. Yeah. But this was another good place to go shopping for furniture. So so that was our non-standard spends. Now this, have I included the British non-standards here? Let me just take a quick look. Yeah, we didn't have a lot. Okay, yeah, no, I have. So again, converted some of the UK pounds into euros using yesterday's figures. So our non-standard spend was quite expensive. It came to €1,532.
But the IT equipment was a chunk of that.
The IT equipment was a
chunk of that. And that's just a one-off. It's not going to be regular.
Yeah. So, you know, setting up a new home essentially, £1,500. It's a lot of money, but it is things
it's
that
not
we
going
really
to be
needed.
happening every month.
No. It might be because we're going to be doing a lot of work. So there is going to be things in the budget that would be non-standard, you know, like lime and
but that's to do with renovation, and there are separate budgets for that.
Separate budgets.
Yeah.
So that was quite dear. And really shocked me tracking that. It really shocked me how much we just spent. Oh, here, take my card. Take my card. It's easy.
Well, no,
to spend,
because we're still careful with what we buy, but inevitably, when you are, getting settled in, you will have non-standard spending, which
every
you just
new
have
home
to do.
does, doesn't it? So
otherwise, you just everything becomes a mess.
Yeah, we needed these things. So anyway. And then our final spend on here for March was the actual moving costs.
So this is how much it actually costs us to move from the UK
physically move
to Portugal.
Yeah.
So what was going to be included in that? Just talk us through the figures.
I mean, it may not be everything because there might have been some things that we spent back in February or January, but this is physically moving ourselves and our furniture from the UK to Portugal. So this includes fuel So all of the fuel from the UK, from up near Manchester, down through the UK, through France,
yeah,
and Spain, and all of that fuel that we use during that. It includes lunch and evening meals during that time.
Yeah, the travel.
We had 2 overnight stays because of the cat, mainly. So it includes the hotel costs, I think, yeah, it does. It includes 2 hotel stays. It includes all of the tolls through France, which do get a little bit expensive. We also took the M6 toll just outside Birmingham, and that's quite expensive now. Oh, and what's that? We took another toll at Maidstone. Oh no, that's fuel, sorry. Dartford, sorry, was the toll I was looking for. So all of the tolls. This includes the cost of the removals company to move our furniture.
And boxes of stuff.
Boxes and boxes of stuff. It includes a couple of final payments. So like Sky TV took a final payment. We had an issue with our bike insurance.
Yeah, so we had to pay early cancellation fees.
Yeah.
Because we had to change insurance providers basically for them because of the change of address. We haven't, they're basically registered at a different address in the UK.
So it covers all of those costs. It doesn't include the cost of the Eurotunnel, which we must have paid for before.
We probably booked that in advance.
Yeah, what's that? It's about 300, 400 pounds.
350. Like, I'll get the exact figure and I'll put it on the screen.
So it doesn't include the cost of that, but of course that cost varies depending on when you're travelling.
But is that basically the only cost that's missing?
I believe that's the only cost that's missing.
So basically, to the figure that you're going to give, if you add the Eurotunnel figure, which I'm going to put on the screen as well, it gives you, well, I'll put the exact complete total, but the total that you have
is €3,145.
Yeah, so it gets quite expensive. The vast majority of that is the removals company.
Yeah.
There's going to be a separate video coming out about the removals company, but basically the removals company alone was 2,060.
It was, yeah.
But that's pounds or euros?
That's pounds.
In pounds, British so obviously in euros a little bit more. And the figures that you're giving are in euros?
Yes, I converted it all to euros just to make life simpler. So yeah, it costs about just over €3,000 to physically move ourselves, our pets, well, yeah, that's not the subject. Physically move ourselves and all of our items here. And that
excluding the motorbikes.
Excluding the motorbikes.
There's going to be a separate video on that as well.
That's another video, you're going to have to tune in for that later on. We did bring a trailer, so I guess fuel was a little bit more expensive.
Yeah, the car used more fuel because of the trailer, but also because we had the trailer, one Eurotunnel was a little bit more as well, but we had to pay a little bit less for the removals company.
Yeah.
And some of our things are still with my parents in the UK, which they'll bring over for us gradually. Yeah. So that's another way in which we try to keep the cost down a little bit.
Yeah, clearly very poorly.
Yeah, but it's still like...
Yeah, we could have spent more if we'd wanted to. We didn't bring hardly any furniture. We bought the bed settee. Yeah. We bought the dining room table, which the legs came off. We bought
not came off by the removals company.
No, they come
they're
off.
Detachable.
Yeah. We bought the mattress because that was quite an expensive item.
And the sideboard.
And we bought a big sideboard.
And that's it pretty much.
And that's it for large furniture items. Yeah. That was all the furniture we bought with us. So hence why
we then have to go to Oma and Jysk and other places to now buy furniture.
Because we didn't want to bring the furniture from the UK.
It just wasn't necessarily fitting for what we have in mind for over here.
It wouldn't fit in because the house here is a lot smaller, and B, it wouldn't fit in aesthetically.
No.
We wanted to give this house a whole new feel, didn't we? So
yeah, well, it's in a different country, different climate. It needs to look slightly differently. We wanted to have a different feel to it.
Different vibe. Yeah. So that's how we kept our moving costs down, but our non-standard costs have gone up a little bit.
So yeah, all in. Is that basically all of it?
That's all of it. Like we said, you're going to have to tune in later in the month to find out about moving motorcycles over here. But all of those costs combined came to £5,525.
Would be pounds or
euros? Euros. Sorry.
And then
I'm still
it would be ever
pounds.
so slightly higher once you include the Eurotunnel, which I will do.
Yeah.
And you'll have the figures to the right there next to Joe, if I haven't messed up the editing. But yeah, expensive. But that includes everything, and like I said, we're pretty transparent with everything that we spend.
Yeah.
And this type of video is going to be happening every month.
Yeah.
So next month, I imagine it's going to be cheaper because, well, it will have to be cheaper because we can't afford to be spending this much.
Well, you say that. We have some building material to buy next month.
Yes, but that's a different budget.
It is a different budget, but
we've got different budgets for renovating one barn, renovating the second barn on our off-grid farm, and we've got a separate budget for doing a little bit of remodel on the village house. So it's all been sort of budgeted and thought about in advance. We haven't
it's
just...
probably not going to be enough money.
No, you always underestimate. You know, when you watch grand designs and say, oh yeah, we're just going to get it done for 200 grand, and then it comes back, yeah, we spent $500,000 in the end.
Yeah.
But, you know, you still need to do a bit of planning, a bit of research, and hopefully this video is helping you guys to have a think about, you know, how much it would cost you potentially to move over, how much it would cost you to live over here, and whether or not it's something that is feasible for you, given your conditions, your circumstances, or not.
Yeah.
But going back to our budget, €1,000 per month, we pretty much stuck to that. Because the 800 odd euros, that includes the bills in the UK as well.
Yes.
Like car insurance, motorbike insurance.
Yeah.
So
as long as they don't rock it over here.
Yeah.
Because we don't actually know how much the insurances will be on the bikes here.
But well, I wouldn't expect it to be much more.
Well, we didn't expect it to be much more moving from where we did.
No, but over here we live. Well, not in the middle of nowhere, but we live in a village. In the UK, it tends to be an issue if you move into a city.
Works like that here.
But I don't know.
But anyway,
you'll have to wait.
We'll tell you.
We don't know yet.
Yeah.
We'll let you know once we know.
We might be selling the motorbikes if we can't afford the insurance. Who knows?
Probably. Oh, hopefully not. Hopefully not.
Hopefully not. No.
But yeah, this was a roundup of our expenditure and spending in March 2026. Another video coming out for the spend in April, early May. So make sure that you subscribe for that.
Yeah.
If you want to know how much we spend on our ongoing basis.
Yeah.
If you have any questions, drop us a comment. Give this video a thumbs up and share it so that other people know as well.
Yeah. And we hope we haven't bamboozled you with all those figures.
Yeah. All right. I think that's pretty much it for this. I was hoping that this was going to be a short one, but I imagine it's probably over half an hour.
Yeah, we can't do short videos.
No. We try.
Maybe one day.
We try. Right, so we're going to carry on sitting here under the lovely cork oak that we've got.
No, we're not. I've got some work for you to do.
Yeah, we do. Always more work. But anyway, from our lovely off-grid farm, from underneath our lovely cork oak here, we hope that you have a lovely day, week, evening, night, wherever it is that you are, whatever it is that you're doing, and we'll see you on Monday for a regular video, because this is a bonus video.
Até já.
Até já. Ciao. Arrivederci.
Over and out.
Bye bye.
Adios.